everyone, how are you guys doing? I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my visa interview experience and how the entire process was like, because I know this can be a very daunting and scary experience because this is the last step in your process before you actually move abroad. And at this point, you've already gotten your acceptances, decided what university you're going to, and this is the one step that you cannot afford to mess up. So I'm going to share my experience and I hope it helps all of you. So in this video, I'll start with sharing my visa interview experience and then share some tips and tricks for your visa interview. So make sure you stay tuned until the end. Talking about my interview, it was in Mumbai because that was the closest embassy to me. My interview was on the 13th of June. So there's two sections of in the process of getting your visa. It's your biometrics and your interview. You'll have to go to the embassy for these two things. Biometrics is very chill. You just go there, you take a few documents. I only needed my passport, my service ID, and there's one form that you get after you fill out your visa application. So you need to take that. And then they just ask you for your thumbprints, your prints of your four fingers. They say look at the camera, they click a picture, and then that's all. So the biometrics is not the scary part, it's the interview. My day of the interview, it was, as I said, it was June 12th or 13th, and it was very early in the morning. It was at 7:45 a.m. and it had started raining that morning. So they took us all in early, and my dad came inside with me because if you're a minor, they allow one of your parents to come inside, and they just need a passport to come inside with you, so that if they have any questions about your finances and you can't answer them, your parent or your guardian will be able to answer them. So I went in there. The queue was very long that day. It took about 1.5 hours just in the queue. I remember there was this one officer, he was some minister, and he wanted to get done with his interview early, and he was trying to convince the officers to take his visa interview first, but they didn't let him do that, and he got very angry and pissed and he started shouting. It took around 1.5 hours in the queue itself. I saw 2 to 3 applicants getting rejected, they did not get their visa, which was very scary because it was the guy in front of me. He walked into the interview, I heard his entire interview, and then I saw his visa getting rejected, which was very scary. But then I went in for my interview, and there's this glass panel between you and the interviewer, and they ask you questions. Sometimes it's difficult for you to hear what they're saying because of the glass. You listen what they're saying through a receiver, and they're speaking in the mic. So it's okay if you ask them to repeat the question. I went in there, they asked me some question, I did not hear it, and they were asking me for my name, and I was like, can you please repeat it? They said, what's your name? And I answered, I told my name. Then they asked me what university I want to go to. I told them I want to go to the University of Arizona, and they only asked me, how are you planning to fund your education? How have you figured out your finances? I said, yeah, I have a scholarship that covers almost 60% of my tuition fee, and for the rest of it, I told them what I had planned. They also asked about my major. They just asked what my major was and why I was pursuing it. At that point, I was an undecided major in the College of Science and Engineering. So I told them that, and they were like, okay. My interview was done in around 30 to 40 seconds. It did not take longer than that. And the officer said, okay, your visa is accepted. That guy was kind of weird. He was just staring into his computer the entire time. He did not look up and look at me once during the entire interview. That is what my interview was like. My dad was there with me, but they didn't ask him any questions. He was just standing at the side. Yeah, I was very happy. The interview got done very quickly. Then I went out. My mom and my sister were there. So it was kind of a bittersweet feeling because this is the last step in the process. And after this, it's you are for sure going abroad. Oh, and also they didn't ask me for any documents of any sort. It was just my passport and my I-20, but they might ask you for documents. So make sure you have organized documents kept in a file. Make sure you name them. The document, I remember what all I had carried because I had very keenly separated them. Your personal information like your Aadhaar card and stuff, passport, about your university. So the university you've gotten into, your acceptance letter, your where you're living, so a proof of some housing, your I-20, your service ID, but I think they'll only ask this during your biometrics. At least for me, that was the case. They only asked me for it during my biometrics, not during my visa. And then, yeah, about your finances. So, your loan letter, your bank account statement, and that's all the important things that you need in there. Other than that, if you want to carry something you think they'll ask for it, you can carry that as well. During your interview, make sure that you're confident and you're not nervous, you're answering your questions properly. Because if you're scared, the interviewer tends to ask you more questions. The four main parts that the interviewer asks you about is about your background and family history, your education, so like your field of education, what you're going there for, your finances, and your intent. When they ask you about your intent, why do you want to go to the US or any other country that you want to go to, try to convince them that you're not going there to settle down there. You're just going to get your education. So when the visa officers are asking you questions, they're asking you from the perspective of why are you going to my country, and you have to convince them that if I don't go, it's going to be your loss, not mine. So answer your questions properly and confidently, and make sure you have done your research. You know why you're going to this specific country, to this specific university, why you have chosen your major. Tell them about the opportunities that you'll get if you go to this particular university, why you have chosen it over other universities. Also, when the officer asks you for your documents, you have to make sure that you can hand it over to them quickly. If your documents are all over the place and you've taken all your documents from your first grade to your 12th grade, you cannot pick it up and give it to them quickly. So make sure you have all your documents organized and that you can hand it over to them if they ask for anything specific. They're also likely to ask if you have any family or any close relatives in the US, and answer about that. Say that your family being in the US does not mean that you want to go and settle down there. You're only going there for your education. And as long as you answer everything confidently and properly, you should be good and your visa should be approved. Also, one more thing, dress properly. Don't wear anything weird. I think my outfit wasn't exactly suitable for that interview. It wasn't very weird. It wasn't something very out of the blue, but just dress accordingly. So good luck and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all liked it. So make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe.